Hello and welcome to the Legendary Chiropractor Podcast. I'm your host, Johnny Reuter, and this podcast is brought to you by thelegendarychiropractor.com, an interactive and immersive virtual platform for prospective chiropractic students, current chiropractic students, recent chiropractic school graduates, and even veteran doctors of chiropractic out in the field wanting just a little bit more from this profession. I hope that you enjoyed today's episode, and if you do, be sure to share with a friend, leave us a rate, leave us a review, and also be sure to subscribe to get more. Dr. Brad Glowacki runs one of the highest volume, highest profile, highest profitability practices in the world, and it's all run with vitalistic communication procedures. Those procedures from his office are then shared with other chiropractors at his various trainings as a part of Level Up mentoring. This information is created, developed, tested, and then packaged simplistically before being taught. With bruises and scars from making mistakes, Dr. Glow always delivers refined content that is battle-tested and simplified for use on Monday. To level up your life and practice, head over to levelupmentoring.rocks. That's levelupmentoring.rocks. CHIRO HD, superior cloud-based practice management software. CHIRO HD is a user-friendly, all-in-one EHR solution built with one mission: to help you run your practice like a boss. Learn more at chirohd.com. Total Clinic Solutions is your go-to source for purchasing both brand new and refurbished chiropractic equipment, as well as phone support for repairs and maintenance. Call Derek and allow him to combine your wishes and his 23 years of chiropractic equipment expertise to find what's best for you and your patients at 704-622-4089 or head to totalclinicsolutions.com now. Thank you for allowing this brief disruption to take place. And now back to the program. Hey, what's going on, everyone? Welcome back to another episode in the Jeep the Legendary Chiropractor Free Group. So I'm coming to you live today to discuss a couple of things that are really important to me and are really important to you as a chiropractic student, because as you progress through your journey in chiropractic school, what you really have to know and do is you have to understand how to take boards, and you have to be prepared to take chiropractic boards. And the national boards, especially for my US people out there, the national boards are a beast, right? And there's no short way around it. It's just the way that it is. And unfortunately, there are 4 or 5, if you choose to take PT, national boards that you need to take and need to pass and do very well on in order to become a chiropractor. So with that being said, I want you to understand that it is not only super critical and super important that you take your classes seriously, but you also find external chiropractic motivation to get you through your day-to-day, right, in chiropractic. So what does this look like, right? What does this look like? As always, click that link, legendarychiro.com/go. Join us. Join over 400 of your peers and colleagues on our platform. It's blowing up right now. So, but what does this look like? What do study habits look like? Number one, how often or how frequently or how soon should you start studying for chiropractic boards? If it's part one, I'm not going to break all of them down, but I'll give you my personal experience and kind of what I did. If it's part one and you're nervous about it, you're kind of amped up about it, I started the quarter before, and a quarter is about 3 months before taking the exam. Now that some of you might be like, whoa, that's so extreme. And some of you might be like, that's probably what I did. But I started about a quarter before, I took national boards part one. And I was really nervous. I was super nervous. I didn't really know what to expect. I knew that it was going to be hard. It was the last pencil paper exam that National NBCE was offering. And I was just really amped up and I was really nervous. So what I wanted to do and what I wanted to make sure of is that I understood the processes enough, especially in biochemistry, enough that if they were to throw a question at me, I would know how to answer it, right? Because I didn't come from a chemistry background. I didn't come from a science background. I came from a kinesiology background. So I was really good at the anatomy and physiology, but I was lacking significantly in the chemistry and the biochemistry. And so I really wanted to make sure I knew the pathways really, really well, that I kind of drove those home for myself. And why that's important to you is because understanding those pathways can take a significant amount of time, right? We learn it in a quarter, but do we really learn it, right? That's my question to you. You learn it in a trimester, but do you really learn it, right? So I want you to, when you're studying, I want you to apply it to patients, right? If someone walks in and I hear a lot of people joke, and I used to joke all the time, like, when am I ever going to talk about the Krebs cycle in practice, right? But you get questions like that in practice more than you probably think. SCED is the all-in-one system that allows for amazing control and flexibility of your scheduling. Yes, your next new hire. Every aspect of when and where you service your customers is at your command. SCED is tightly integrated with your existing EHR system. This software was made by a chiropractor specifically for chiropractic. No joke. Go check out their latest care plan feature by heading to go.sced.life/legendarypod. Easily share your passion for chiropractic and look good doing it with ABOVEDOWN Apparel, offering a premium lineup of principled apparel that's impossibly soft, sustainably sourced, and chiropractic AF. Visit abovedown.co and follow them on Instagram to learn more and score yourself some sweet chiro swag. Every chiropractic clinic needs a compliance program. If you are not sure what that includes or why you need one, let Dr. Robin from RHDC Consulting help you build your chiropractic compliance. If you are ready to get started, head to robin-hale.mykajabi.com and let Dr. Robin guide you to the end result. Thank you for allowing this brief disruption to take place. And now back to the program. People ask you about blood sugar and about fasting and about how they're, why their carbs are affecting them and why there's inflammatory processes taking place and like where their energy comes from and all of this stuff. So make sure that you really understand it on a clinical aspect and a clinical level. Now, why that's important is because you have to take that knowledge, you have to take that experience that you're kind of reading on paper and studying and writing out again and again and again and apply it to somebody who walks into your office in the future, and you can give them an explanation of where their energy comes from, why their energy comes from there, and why it's important to take it seriously. And when you do that, when you shift that mindset, that mentality, and you actually start clinically applying this stuff to people and patients that are not your patients yet, but are your future patients, you start to learn and develop and absorb the chiropractic content, the chiropractic science a lot easier and a lot more digestible. So that was huge for me. Part 1, I was 3 months out. Part 2 and 3 and PT, I took part 2, 3, PT, and 4 all within about 3 months of each other. So it kind of was all crammed into the end of my chiropractic education, but it was I studied for part 2 probably a month and a half before. Part 3 probably a little bit less than that because that's just, you kind of carry over from part 2. And then PT, I did one class. I studied like the week before for PT. And then for part 4, I studied my butt off for about 2.5 solid weeks. Because part 4 is really just a recap of everything you know. You just have to now again apply it to patients and real people and do them on your friends and the tests and the neurological conditions and understand them at a clinical level. So part 4 for me was really fun. I enjoyed part 4. Part 3 was tough, but I enjoyed part 3 as well. I thought part 1 and part 2 were the hardest for me personally. PT was fine. It is what it is. But you'll find that if you're in the States, if you're taking boards, you'll find that, from part 1, you'll study a lot differently for part 3, PT, and part 4. Part 1 and 2, you study pretty similarly, but you got to understand what your duration of study time is and what your duration of focus is. If you can only focus for 15 minutes at a time and really get good studying in 15 minutes at a time, you need to start studying way further out than somebody who can sit down for 2-3 hours and cram sesh, right? So make sure you understand that. That's tip number 1, is understand your timeline of not only when the test is, but understand your study timeline. What are your study habits? Can you study for a long period of time? And if you can't, maybe bump out your study duration for the boards. And then the second thing would be, and the most important thing for me, and probably where I'll end this video, is really do well in class, do well on boards. Like your classes are not meant to make you a great doctor or a great chiropractor. They are meant to pass boards. If you follow your class regimen and curriculum and everything to a T, you make sure all the T's are crossed, the I's are dotted, etc., you will do well on boards and you will pass with ease. Not saying that you should not study, but I am saying that I do give the schools credit in regards to getting you prepared for national boards in the United States, because that's exactly what they're meant to do and that's exactly what they will do. So make sure that you take your classes seriously, you take your tests seriously. Dr. Stu Hoffman, founder and president of ChiroSecure Malpractice Insurance, is the foremost expert in both risk management and risk avoidance. Understanding the everyday challenges of today's practicing chiropractor and the current public perception of chiropractic has made ChiroSecure the fastest growing malpractice insurance program of the last 28 years. Find out more at chirosecure.com. Imaging Services' primary business is chiropractic solutions. With over 45 years in the industry of helping chiropractors, Michael Tokash offers free consultations on building your business. In the past year, Imaging Services has installed over 100 X-ray machines and digital X-ray systems in over 42 states across the United States. For more, head to theimagingservices.com. Thank you for allowing this brief disruption to take place. And now back to the program. You take thousands of tests, take them seriously. The homework and quizzes, obviously take them seriously, but again, start to apply it as what kinds of questions will come out of this on boards, right? They're only going to ask you questions most of the time in chiropractic school on tests and exams, especially midterms and finals, that are going to be or have been seen on boards before. So if you are taking those tests seriously and you're actually studying and you're actually learning the material, you can really do well on national boards. So give that a shot. Make sure that you take classes seriously. And like we wrote in the description above, if you do well in your classes, you will do well on national boards. Obviously with some studying on top of that, right? Some pretty vigorous and rigorous studying on top of that, okay? So that's all I got for today. I want to talk to you about healthy study habits and what those look like for myself personally. Take this for what it's worth. Allow me to be your virtual mentor in this guidance. Through national boards, especially in the United States. If you're taking European boards or European testing, make sure that obviously you figure out what it looks like for you, and make sure you really understand what that means in your region of the world, okay? Because I want every single one of you to do extremely well. I want you to be the best chiropractor and the most legendary chiropractor you can be. But that starts with not only passing your classes, but it starts with passing national boards and really then becoming the doctor that you want to be. After you pass your classes, after you pass boards, you can truly step into the doctor that you want to be. Until those two things happen, it's really hard to see yourself beyond the classroom. So make sure you get those things done. I always emphasize people either get them done like immediately after graduation, or get them, like, if you're waiting on part 4 until right after graduation, that's totally fine. But I highly encourage people, especially people starting in the fall, that's usually the biggest classes in chiropractic. Those boards are literally set to your schedule of graduation. So make sure that you are staying on time and on track with your classes, your coursework, your clinicals, and then that way you can take part 1, 2, 3 PT and part 4 all chronologically in order, and then graduate with all 5 of them taken and passed. And then all you have to worry about is getting your state licensure, and that's like a breeze. So make sure that you're staying on top of things in school, you're pushing through to the next level, and you're doing really well in classes and on boards. All right. I love you guys. I appreciate you. I hope you find these videos valuable. I'm here for you, and I'm going to start running these. If you didn't see yet, I'm going to start running these videos as our podcast. We're going to be more solo podcasting and bringing the energy, bringing the heat, and converting these after we run a 12-episode Facebook premiere season. We're going to be converting them into audio podcasts just like we did with the old podcast, but instead it's going to be solo, one-on-one, me and you chatting. So I hope they're helpful. I hope they're quick tidbits of knowledge and wisdom and experience that I can give you from my personal life, friends' personal lives, right, and things that I've seen in the profession just so far in my young stages already. But I want you to do well. I want you to be successful, and I want you to be a legendary chiropractor. So I love you guys. I appreciate you, and I hope you have a wonderful, wonderful weekend. Peace and love, guys. Bye. Again, I'm your host, Johnny Reuter, and you're listening to the Legendary Chiropractor Podcast. Thank you so much for tuning in, and thank you for engaging with us on all of our platforms, including but not limited to Facebook and Instagram, all at The Legendary Chiropractor. Be sure to check our home site out at thelegendarychiropractor.com, as we have much to offer for prospective chiropractic students, current chiropractic students, recent chiropractic school graduates, and even veteran doctors of chiropractic out in the field. And lastly, I'd like to thank not only you, our listener, but also our podcast sponsors. Without them, this show wouldn't be possible. So I encourage you to go check out their websites and what they have to offer in the show notes for this episode. Thanks again. Stay legendary, my friends.